No nonsense gin drinking. All gin and a surprising amount of nonsense.
Hello gin lovers, welcome back. I'm Bobby Freeman. Today, my friends, on the show we have a very, very interesting gin for you. You may not have heard of this one, okay? You may not be aware of this one, but I tell you one thing, you are going to be aware of the fellow who made it and thought of it and produced it. Let me first introduce you to it. It goes by the name of the Gardner Gin. Now, you're probably still none the wiser, so let me tell you, my friends, this is the gin of Brad Pitt. And I really like the way that he hasn't, he's obviously a very famous guy, but he hasn't used his face on any of the marketing or any other part of his body. If I was Brad Pitt, I'd have had, on the front, it's rather sort of unassuming, understated bottle. I'd have had a massive picture of my face on the front there, just going like that. And then just, I don't know, like a picture of my bare ass on the back. In fact, if I ever bring out my own gin, which I may do, I don't know, I haven't ruled it out, that's the technique I'm going to take. No sort of nice sort of, floral design or sort of gold leaf print and all that. Just bare arses, just a man's hairy bare arse. And that, my friends, is why I don't work in marketing. Anyway, I digress. I'm not sure how we got from Brad Pitt to my bare arse, but the regular viewers of this show have probably seen worse. So let's crack on with it. Let's find out what it's like and tell you about it. The Gardner Organic French Gin. True, bold and unexpected, a bit like me. Handcrafted by Brad Pitt, Tom Nicol and the Famille Perrin. I think I pronounced that right. A triptych of sky, land and fire. The Gardner and its creators embody the elements of nature required to create a spirit that captures the French Riviera. I like to think this show captures the spirit of the French Riviera, actually, in some ways. Then it's got a bit about the distiller, the master distiller, Tom Nicol. So get a load of this, right? So an alchemist of great renown, former master distiller of none other than Tanqueray Gin. So I think Tom probably knows what he's talking about. Then it's got a bit about the family. So for 5 generations, the Perrin family, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Perrin family has resided in southern France, caring for the land and all the life it produces. From the cultivation of biodiversity to the regenerative agriculture, their vineyards and wines, as well as the Gardner, are an expression of their own dedication to the health of nature and the generations to come. And then we come to the bit about Brad Pitt himself. So it says, he is a dreamer, a visionary, and a man deeply connected to nature, very much like myself. Brad desired to create a spirit reflective of the place with which he fell in love. The pursuit of beauty and perfection led him to imagine the Gardner. So there we go, my friends. That tells you a lot about sort of the backstory of it. It doesn't seem to have much about what's actually in it. Hang on a second, let me have a look. Oh, hang on a minute. I forgot they sent me a little card with some information. Here we go, Botanicals. So the fundamentals. So we got juniper, unsurprisingly, angelica, unsurprisingly, coriander, unsurprisingly. Also unsurprisingly, we have licorice. If I say unsurprisingly after every single botanical, we're going to be here for a long video. Here we go, the citruses. Let's see what they put in there. So grapefruit, bitter and sweet oranges grown in the heart of the French Riviera. So it's kind of a simplistic recipe of botanicals here. Bitter and sweet oranges. I've never heard made reference to that before in any other my other gins. I don't think. They just say oranges or whatever citrus it might be. But grapefruit is in there, and that's interesting because, I'll tell you why. Because grapefruit per se, I'm not a huge fan of. However, when you use it very, very wisely, and when you balance it with the other flavors, it can really give a nice body to a gin. Who had grapefruit in? Steve the bartender's gin over there, that threefold gin. Also, where's that nice fancy Tanqueray 10? I don't know where it is. That's the normal Tanqueray 10. There was another Tanqueray 10 that had rosemary and grapefruit, and it was absolutely exceptional. So I'm really looking forward to this. It kind of puts me in mind a little bit of the number 3 gin over there in its simplicity, and that was one of the best gins I've ever tasted. So I say, my friends, we crack on and try a little bit of this, what is shaping up to be an exceptional gin. But before we do, my friends, let me tell you about my sponsors for this video, and that is Z-Biotics, the probiotic drink that just takes the edge off the unpleasant feeling you get the day after drinking. Combined, of course, with responsible drinking, which I always promote on this show, and a little bit of water water as well. These really do make a difference. I only advertise products on the show that I actually like myself, and these are genuinely brilliant. And what's also brilliant is at the moment, if you click on the link below my video here, you can get 15% off ZBiotics as well as a money back guarantee. So if you're not 100% satisfied, they will give you your money back, literally back in your pocket. Well, not straight into your pocket via, I don't know, some other form, but the point is you'll get your money back. So if that sounds good for you, head over to ZBiotics now to get yours. Okay, my friend, do you know what? I've just realised my regular viewers and subscribers will know. I usually, when I read that stuff off the website, I like to do it in the accent from where the gin is from. And this time, it's obviously from France. So I've missed an opportunity to do my wonderful French accent. I like to do my French accent very, very much. I enjoy it. I find it very nice. Some people, I am sure, are going to complain and get me cancelled at some point for doing this. But you know what? I do not care. That is the way I want to go. So what I'll do, here we go. I shall, throughout the rest of the video, I shall sort of slip smoothly, transition from my normal cute British accent, as the Americans call it, into my rather sexy French accent. And you will never know. You will never know the difference, I promise you. So anyway, that's quite a lot of fanning around for one video. I say we get the top off this fellow and find out what it's like. Right, good God, we've fannied around a lot in this video. Let's get the top off and find out what it's blowing around like, shall we? However, having said that, we haven't actually done the cork test yet. So my friends, get ready for the cork test. The cork test. So then, it looks like a sort of a uniquely shaped cork in this one, doesn't it? So let's see if it's got a squeak. Good Lord above. Not only does it have a squeak, I think that's a creak. Hang on. Yeah, definitely. I don't think we've had that before. We'll have to rename it the creak test.
The creak test.
Ah, there we go. If I do it really quickly, it becomes a squeak. And I must say, good Lord, that's possibly the best squeak we've ever had. That bodes well. Let's see what the full pull is like. Here we go. Oh, my God. Lord above. Not only was it absolutely explosive and extremely loud, it's also sort of rained down little bits of gin in a sort of an alcoholic shower, and I think that's possibly a first on any video on YouTube, which is all very well and nice. You know, it was nice to get that little bit of gin rain on me. It was very nice, it had a cooling effect, and it was a very good cork test as well. But at the end of the day, we all know it doesn't really matter, does it? It's just a bit of fun. Jesus, that was a loud one. Okay, my friends. Okay, right. Let's get her in the glass, shall we? Good Lord, we fanny around on this show a lot, don't we? Right, I bet they regret sending me this gin now. Anyway, let's get a sniff of this, shall we? So. Oh, I tell you what, gin lovers. That smells, it's kind of like, imagine what a gin should smell like. A really good gin that's got everything balanced, but imagine kind of times it by about 3 or 4. Everything just heightened a little bit more. So you got, God, it's like a treat when it sort of goes down the what's the back bit? The sinus, I suppose, and the windpipe and lungs. And I'm not a doctor, as you can probably tell. Just a beautiful waft of strong, heavy juniper, kind of wallowing juniper. Puts me in mind a little bit of, where is it? That one down there, I don't know if you can see it. It's the New York one, Brooklyn Gin. That was a kind of heavy, laden down juniper, and I like that. If you're going to do a gin, you might as well bloody well laden it down with a bit of thick juniper. But in there, you've got like a real sort of a heavy freshness, I would say. It's a heavy sort of wallowing, it's wallowing but light at the same time, which makes no sense. But sometimes contradictions work really, really well with gin. So we're not going to spend too long sniffing this, my friends, because this one smells really, really good. Let's get it in the old mouth, shall we? Here we go, a bit of tonic. Now, I suspect this tonic may have gone a little bit flat, but I don't mind a flat tonic, actually. I don't get raveled up in too many things like that. I like to live life on the edge, and I like to live a simple life as well. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. Let's check the strength of this one. 42%, so bang on the money there. Here we go, my friends. Thank you, of course, to all my patrons and members who are literally paying for the gin on this show. This, my friends, is the Gardner Gin by Monsieur Brad Pitt. I say, cheers. Oh, God, that sounds good. Okay, gin lovers. That, my friends, does not disappoint. This is one of those times I will drift into the French accent. Gin lovers, I can tell you now, that is one of the best gins I have tested. It kind of, I can't take myself seriously with that French accent. I'll go back to normal for a minute. Talk about balancing of flavors, right? I always say this. It gets a bit boring. It's become like a catchphrase, but you've got to balance these flavors right for a really, really good gin. And it takes a long, long time. There's so much trial and error involved. But this, you can kind of taste the months and months of fine tuning in there. It's a lovely heavy bed of juniper, and it's kind of it's a word beginning with V, voluptuous. A voluptuous wallowing of just beautiful juniper in there. But kind of offset by those amazing citruses that it mentions. So it talks about bitter and sweet oranges. So you get a sense of balancing out of the bitter and the sweet. There's definitely a bitterness there. And in fact, especially in the aftertaste, there's that grapefruit is 100% present. But again, like I said, used very sparingly. I can still taste it now. It's got like a lingering legacy of grapefruit, which can only be a good thing, you know. In fact, when I die, I hope my lasting legacy was, you know, mostly just to do with grapefruit. But it's kind of counterbalanced. So you got the grapefruit on this side with the bitteriness. It's beautifully counterbalanced with the kind of lovely citrus sweetness of those oranges. And what was else? Was it lemons as well? No, it was just oranges actually, in fact, which is really good because I always love an orange-based gin, like I say. But also it says fresh citruses, which I assume what they mean by that is not dry ones. So that makes sense because in the Tanqueray 10, which is where Tom Nicol, the master distiller, came from Tanqueray, one of the, oh God, I'm getting a bit excited here. Calm down, slow down, Bobby. That is what made Tanqueray 10 so incredible because they used fresh citruses, and I've never ever seen it before. But fresh, I mean, you know, actual sort of luscious and juicy, proper, you know, sort of just cut off the tree kind of thing, rather than dried out and shriveled. And to be honest, I don't know why more gins haven't done that, because it worked supremely well in Tanqueray 10. So is it better? Is it? I reckon it's definitely taking inspiration from the Tanqueray 10, but I'd say, and that was about one of the best gins I've ever tasted, but I'd say it's pushed it slightly further, I would say. There's something a little bit tweaked and special about it. It puts me in mind of it, but at the same time, it's definitely an improvement on it. So, my friends, let's have a little bit of this gin neat in the very handsome and impressive no-nonsense gin drinking mug, which not many people, some people buy. Some people even buy this piece of shit. I mean this excellent high-tech, high-quality receptacle. And of course, you too could own one of these things. If you just click the link below this video, it is extremely high-priced. But I like to think you get the value in some way. I just don't know how. You know what? In second thoughts, I think I should work in marketing. Anyway, let's get this little fellow in there, shall we? I reckon this is going to be made for a gin and tonic. Personally, I don't know. Let's give it a quick go, shall we? I don't think many people will be drinking it out of a mug, but, you know, people have seen worse on this show. Here we go. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, for me, I think the flavours are really unlocked with the tonic. I think it's nice. It's very, very good. I think neat gin drinkers, my neat gin drinkers will enjoy it. But I think some of that sweetness and bitterness, that stuff about being balanced, you know, counterbalanced, isn't quite as discernible when it's neat. When a lot of people say to me, why do you should drink it neat, you shouldn't put it with tonic. Well, as I said before, I think tonic unlocks those flavours. A lot of master distillers and master tasters, whatever they're called, when they're trying neat gin, they will put a tiny spot of water in their gin, just because it unlocks the oils and everything, and I just think it works that way. So that, my friends, give it a go, neat by all means, but that one, in my view, that makes one hell of a gin and tonic. Now then, in terms of price, it is a little bit on the higher end, the premium end, shall we say. Here in the UK, it's depending on where you get it from, it's hovering around the sort of the £50 mark, which is a bit more than I usually like to pay for gin. However, I've said before, I do not mind pushing the boat out a little bit more if something is truly excellent. And that, my friends, really is. So I actually think that's an okay, but it could have been a lot more, let's face it, you know, using there's such a big celebrity like Brad Pitt, but I think I'm just about happy with that. So my friends, to sum up, that I just had a feeling about this one. I had a funny feeling. Something about the just understatedness of the bottle. Again, it reminded me a little bit like number 3. Very similar kind of glass. They must have got it from the same place, I think. But I just had a funny feeling. I'll take that away in case it gets confusing. I just had a feeling it was going to be good. It was, as I say, it's kind of understated, but it's understated and brilliant. It's simple. It's really, really simple. But again, like many of the best gins, they have simplicity at their core. I'm a very, very simple man. I like simple things, so I like this gin. So it's not doing anything really, really crazy and out there with some real sort of standout botanical, but it's just doing everything right. Like a beautiful, effortless symphony of kind of simplistic core gin flavours. And my God, I think this is going to be a contender for number 1 this year. I tell you now, it is wonderful. So as I say, a little bit higher than I usually like to pay for gin, but I'm telling you now, if you see this one, I'm imagining it's probably available most places, but if you see it and you think to yourself, oh, it's a bit more than I like to pay, trust me, it is worth every single penny. That's exquisite, wonderful. And, you know, people say, oh, you're just saying that because it's a celebrity endorsed gin. Well, look at the one from Buckingham Palace Gin. I slated it. It was complete shit. I've said before on the show, I speak as I find that I'm always honest to my viewers, otherwise there's no point me being here. So trust me, guys. My followers, you know, I've got some real loyal followers out there, my legion of people that watch me all the time. This one, my friends, this is one I'm definitely recommending you try. And I say to the good people at the distillery from where it was made, and indeed Brad Pitt, keep up the good work. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video today. I've absolutely loved this one. It was everything I hoped it would be. If it was everything you hoped it would be too, then don't forget to express this by subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Press the like button on the video, or if you want to support the show, head over to my Patreon page, or indeed click the button below this video to become a YouTube member. But until next time, guys, you all know the drill. Take care, stay safe. Thank you to all my patrons and members, and of course, keep drinking the gin.